Sure. The High Commissioner can see you now, Mr. Hine.
Well, that's very generous of him.
Sorry? Mr. Hine.
Ah, good afternoon. Do sit down. Mr. Hine, is it?
Yeah.
Enjoying your visit?
No, as a matter of fact.
Where are you staying?
At the Imperial.
You can't do much better than the old Imperial. They changed the name after independence, you know, called it Hotel One Dhaka. But they lost so much custom they'd change it back again. You're on business, I presume?
Well, I'd hardly come to a place like this for a holiday.
No, I suppose not. Well, now, Mr. Hine, what can I do for you?
Well, as you say, I'm here on business. And I'd like to hold a reception and give it to various members of the government, you know, civil servants, ministers, all the top brass. But I'd like to hold it here, if you don't mind. And I'd be very much obliged if you'd come along with the missus and show the flag. Know what I mean? I'll pay for it.
You want to hold a reception here?
Yes, that's what I said.
Yes. Well, I'm afraid that's quite out of the question, Mr. Hine. As the official representative of the British government here, I can only organize a function of that sort for an official trade delegation.
But I'm hoping for a sizable arms order from this country, supplied by British firms, Your Excellency, and as a British citizen, I'm entitled to your support.
Arms, did you say?
Yeah. Guns, rifles, armored fighting vehicles, about £1 million worth. Don't worry, I've got a license.
Well, Mr. Hine, I do whatever I can, unofficially, of course. I could probably let you have a couple of letters of introduction.
Who to? Cecil Rhodes. Don't worry, Your
Mr.
Excellency,
Hine,
I can manage. Thank you.
Extraordinary fellow.
Morning, Christopher.
Hello, Walpole.
I found my way down from the hut. I had the impression that trout were out of season.
That's perfectly true, but I've got 1 or 2 pike in here. If I don't get rid of them, they'll eat up all my trout. What on earth are you doing here?
Can I interest you in the troublesome internal affairs of a small African state?
Not without a serious strain on our relationship, Walpole. Same one?
Yes. Ever since General Obispo Aku seized power last August, the Foreign and Commonwealth Office have been watching anxiously to see which way he's going to lean.
Well, he was indoctrinated at Sandhurst and Camberley. He should lean the right way.
Oh, yes, but that was before the appearance of rival doctrines. Now, as you know, his first act as president was to start negotiations in the European arms market to equip his army with modern weapons. And your company has been nibbling.
We withdrew all interest 3 weeks ago on my orders. He seemed to expect us to give him the stuff.
Exactly. And I rather think we may have to. I understand that a somewhat large delegation of Chinese has suddenly descended upon his capital.
Oh, indeed.
No, not unnaturally, the FCO's in a bit of a ferment. And I believe the American Special Relations people are doing handsprings over in Grosvenor Square.
Well, what's the proposition?
We'd like you to resubmit your tender as part of a package deal.
Package deal? What package deal?
We're going to offer increased aid.
Oh?
And a rather large, interest-free loan to pay for the stuff. Plus a handsome sweetener for the general.
Sweetener? Your department, Walpole? You're growing up?
Indirectly, of course. Provided he sends the Chinese packing.
Naturally, but why don't you produce the ironmonger yourself? Royal Ordnance aren't going to like you, Walpole.
Well, the theory is that Obispo Aku might find it less embarrassing with his local opposition to be seen to be dealing with a commercial group rather than with the British government.
Yes, I see. An important difference in these circumstances. I couldn't quite imagine you being kind to Pendle just for the sake of it. You've been pretty sticky over the years, even with our more reasonable requests. It had crossed my mind to invite you to leave Whitehall and join our board.
Are you making me an improper suggestion, Christopher?
No, I suppose they'd only put in someone even greyer and stickier.
Well, I'm not directly involved in this. I've been asked to act as an intermediary.
A sort of honest broker.
But we're short on time. I wondered if you could send somebody out there within 48 hours.
I think that Harris better handle this one. As you know, I'm just about to leave on my annual session at the Health Farm. I propose to be entirely unapproachable for the next 2 weeks.
And you're prepared to let Asta have full responsibility?
Yes, sir. Does that surprise you?
No, it's not the world's most difficult job, after all.
And if it were?
Asta's a trained soldier. He knows his weapons. But ex-brigadiers don't find it easy to adapt to business.
And?
Oh, I like him.
Let's go and have a drink.
Something which puzzles me, Sue, is how does all this Russian stuff find its way onto the American domestic market?
Who are you waiting for?
Heathcliff, World Arms.
Oh. I still think he should have taken me with him.
When I saw our favourite salesman off at the airport, he confided to me that he has periods which sometimes last for months at a time when he can't bear the company of women. I beg your pardon? When? Oh, all right, I'll call back.
Did he honestly say that? I don't believe it.
You don't.
Besides, he'd never confide in you. And you'd not have said it if he weren't 5,000 miles away.
And I suppose I would. I wouldn't want to hurt his feelings or yours.
Why are you always so beastly when he's away? Or is Samantha playing up again?
Samantha? I'm afraid you're a bit out of date. I'm going for a walk, should anything important need my attention.
Good.
Morning, Sammy.
Good morning, sir.
I'll be catching the afternoon plane out.
Very good, sir. I shall prepare the account for you.
Good.
I hope you enjoyed a successful visit.
Since you inquire, it's been sheer bloody torture.
I am sorry, sir.
Don't be so worried. It's not your fault.
No, it's all right. I'll hang on to the briefcase. My name is Harris.
Large trunk.
Small gin and tonic, please.
Have this on Hine Enterprises.
Yeah.
Now, Asta. Well, what's the latest gossip on the up line from Walton-on-Thames, eh? Dying to know.
Tell me you were sculling round here somewhere.
Well, it's £1 million quid of the business at stake, isn't there? What brings you to this part of the world, then? I heard a very loud murmur a couple of weeks back that Pendles had withdrawn their tender.
I think suspended is the word. Well, the picture's constantly changing, you know. This continent's always in a state of flux.
Oh, you know this part of the world. You've been here before, have you?
Not a reason to know. There's no doubt you'll have made it your business to find out. I did have quite a spell in Nigeria while I was in the army.
I always had the idea that officers' messes were much of a muchness wherever you were, Baghdad or Catterick.
That was the gossip in the naffy, was it?
No, you see, occasionally I used to empty the ashtrays after a regimental dinner night, you see, and it's amazing what you can learn if you keep your eyes and ears open. Morning. Let's move over there, shall we?
Well, I've not too much time.
Asta, I'll tell you something for nothing. We're both wasting our time here. Those lads have got it all sewn up.
How can you be so sure?
Well, I wish you luck, that's all. You see that little chap over there on the left? He's the one I've got to watch. Liu Chen. He's not the nominal leader, but he's the one with all the influence. He's supposed to be the one that pulled off the Tanzanian railway deal. They've spotted you, Asta. They're going to spread the word.
And they know who I am.
They got you docketed, Asta. Never fear. Do you know what? A surprising thing has happened since the Boxer Rebellion. The Chinese are no longer to be seen invariably between the shafts of rickshaws. In fact, a good many of them have achieved quite a high standard of intelligence.
Awfully instructive, these little lectures of yours.
Well, that's the last one you get for a while. I'm on the plane out of here in a couple of hours. Same again, please. Hope you have had more joy than me. Not that you will have. I don't think even Pendles can compete with the Chinese People's Republic.
I wouldn't be too sure of that.
Well, not unless you've got government support. There's your only chance.
Well, you know, firms like ours can generally count on a certain degree of official backing. I mean, without being personal, we do count a little more than the freelance chappies. Well, I must be off. No doubt we shall bump into each other.
Just a minute, Astor. That's what you call unfair trading practice. Did you know that?
Sorry, I'm not quite with you.
What are you going to offer them, then? A thumping great loan, interest-free, £500,000 worth of increased aid for agriculture, or a bit of both?
Still not with you,
I knew there was something like this in the wind the moment I saw you walk in that door. First of all, a couple of weeks back, your firm pulls out and goes home. And then just after that, the Yellow Peril comes pouring in. And now you're back, waving the flag and another tender. It's pretty bloody obvious what's been going on.
I really think you should tell your psychiatrist these fantasies.
I think you've got a package deal, supported by taxpayers' money. Right? Now, if that's true, that puts Pendle's in an unfair trading position. In other words, I should be offered the same facilities so we can compete on level terms. Or don't you agree?
All sounds wildly hypothetical to me and rather uninteresting.
All right. We'll find out then, shall we? I get on the phone to London and see who's propping you up. My tender is still on the table,
You
know.
can phone whom you damn well like.
No, don't be uncivilized, Astor. Just jealous, that's all. I'll tell you what. I'll make a bargain with you. You can hire my services, if you like, and then we'll both be on the same side. So there'll be no need for any kind of scandal, will there?
Scandal? What the devil do you mean?
Well, it wouldn't go down too well if it were known that Walpole Gibb and his Whitehall Pinstripe Brigade were propping you up, would it? That kind of thing doesn't go down well at all in the ex-colonies, and I'm quite sure that your chairman wouldn't want it known. How is Christopher, by the way? Still off on those diet and pummeling jags?
Could perhaps engage you in an advisory capacity.
Well, what's her name, Astor? We're both working for the same thing, the old country and all that.
Must you be offensive into the bargain?
No, I mean it, Astor. How much are you going to pay me?
5,000, if the deal comes off. And provided you withdraw your own personal interest immediately.
Make it 10,000, and you've got an assistant. I mean, it's not as if I'm likely to get at the honours list, is it? Like you.
7.5, final.
Well, I suppose that'll just about cover my expenses. All right, we're in business. By the way, Astor, what room have they put you in?
504.
Room 504. Charge this to 504, will you? Well, when you're seeing the General, then?
Due to break the ice tomorrow morning.
I see. And then you get down to the real business.
Yes, now look, I want to lay on a bit of a reception at the High Commission here for local bigwigs, you know, ministers, civil servants and so on. I've already had a word on the phone from London with our High Commissioner here. Seems an awfully decent sort of fellow. Look, as you seem to be more on the ball here than I, perhaps you could get cracking on a guest list, could you?
Well, this is sheer coincidence, of course, but I just happen to have one on me. Astor, there's just one thing I'd like to point out. Since I'm in the know here.
Yeah.
Around here, they'd like to see you getting in with the lads. You know, mixing in a bit.
Yes,
Otherwise, they think you're looking down your nose at them. The Chinese made that mistake when they first arrived, but they're catching up fast, and you've just got to keep up with them, Astor.
Good man. I can see you're right on the ball.
A bit like Brooks, don't you think? Except the members are breathing.
Brookson doesn't normally have to haggle with an illiterate doorman for 20 minutes, and then slip him a fiver before I let you in.
Well, you should have slipped them the fiver first. Of course, they are a bit choosy, you know. Same again, and large pink gin?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Just been having a word with our High Commissioner. He's going to be very cooperative about this reception.
Oh, good. You mean he's going to condescend to do what he's paid for, eh? What did you have in mind to drop the General?
Sorry?
And the President, Obispo Aku. What did you have in mind as a backhander?
Well, I thought a holiday. Anywhere in the world. Anytime he likes. And perhaps a boat for his personal use.
A boat? The country is landlocked.
Well, I assume there are lakes, rivers and so forth.
Look, Astor, what's the steel worth? about £800,000. He's going to want something like £60,000 cash, sterling, deposited in his numbered bank account in that developing country, Switzerland. I was prepared to go to 75.
Thousand? You serious?
Yeah. You see, ex-presidents don't get paid anything as leaders of the opposition in countries like this, and they've got to make it while they can.
Hine.
Ah,
How are you keeping? I trust your business is blossoming?
well, no, at the moment it seems to be running a seed.
Oh, really? Oh, come on, I'm sure that's an exaggeration. A man like yourself doesn't allow grass to grow beneath the ground?
Yeah, you seem to be getting bogged down in agriculture.
I apologize. It must be something to do with my antecedents. Look, I'm having a bit of a gathering at my place on Tuesday evening. Why don't you come along and bring your friend with you? It would be marvelous to have you both there.
Yeah, well, we'll see if we can make it, eh?
Good. You know where I live. Look forward to seeing you both there. Excuse me.
Fine.
Oh, Sully, you old bastard. Look, I got a phone to pick with you.
Simon Caronway, barrister. Steer well clear of that one, Astor. He wanted to get to know you. He was fishing for introduction.
Conceive why I should want to know me.
I've heard of the United Action Party. He represents them, though he's not officially connected.
That's the terrorist organization. It's illegal, isn't it?
Let me put you in the picture, Brigadier. The UAP is a left-wing organization, based mostly on one tribal area, but in fact, they control quite a large slice of territory up north. Now, the late president, Dr. Wandaka, tried to keep them under. In fact, there's still about a dozen of them down the road in the prison waiting for the chop. But now, our present president, our friend, General Obispo Aku, wants to make his peace with them.
And that's where the Chinese come in, is it?
Yeah. See, the Chinese supplied the hardware for next to nothing. In return for this, the UAP are allowed to set up guerrilla training camps, recognized by the government, and they receive the help of their Oriental comrades. And then when the guerrillas have been trained, they slip them across the borders to places like Rhodesia and Portuguese colonies like Mozambique.
Damn duplicity.
You know, I don't know how anybody has got the energy to get stroppy in this climate. If I were the chairman of Pendle's, if I was Sir Christopher, I'd go into the air conditioning business. Still wide open. Oh, thank you very much.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
The president sends his compliment.
Oh.
And he wished to say that it is not allowed to remove the tie in the clubhouse.
Bloody hell. Come on, let's go somewhere else, shall we?
That were lucky.
What was lucky?
That big Yankee airliner. 264 people on board.
Uh-huh.
Just missing an Italian fighter plane. Only a yard or two in it. Oh, it could have been terrible.
Golden rule, Arthur.
Golden rule? What golden rule, sir?
I don't want to hear about anything that's happening in the outside world.
Sorry, sir. Forgot all about that.
Salubrious, these haunts of yours.
Right, one of the best places in town. All the best people come here, you know. They're allowed to do their own thing.
Oh, I'm sure you're right.
Asta, how about that then? That's what they mean when they say black is beautiful.
Curious customs they have in this establishment.
Yeah, it must take our minds back to the officers' mess days. You know something else out of that wall? Great bunch of starving kids. They hang about there all night waiting for the food to come over, then they take it home for their mammies to make soup with. Excuse me, Asta. You had finished, hadn't you?
Well, I think I'll get an early night. You stay here and enjoy.
Oh, don't go. I was just about to organize a bit of female company. Have a seat, ladies.
I say. Yeah.
Now, my name's Joe, and this is my friend, Asta.
How do you do?
My name is Elizabeth.
Do?
You have a wife in England, not so?
No, not now.
Then you look for a wife. In Africa?
Is that why you came?
Your friend is not very happy.
No, he's all right. He's just got a serious disposition.
Which position?
You don't seem to have much to say, love. Come on, let's have a dance. Leave these two lovebirds alone, shall we?
All right. Your name is?
Harris. Astor Harris.
Astor. Joe is your brother?
No, we're not related at all, actually.
He's as we say. Your brother. He's your number one friend, yes?
All right, if you insist. Joe is my number one friend.
Asta, how about this for the arms race, eh?
You live in same house as Joe?
Lord, no.
Why? You have an argument with Joe?
No. Since you seem so interested, we're on the best possible terms.
You like black girls, Astor?
Oh, yes, enormously.
Well, then, let's dance. And later, maybe we play some games?
Oh, good Lord, look at the time. I'm terribly sorry. I'm afraid I have to dash away. No doubt we shall see each other
You're
again.
going already?
Asta! What happened to Asta?
Said it was time for him to go.
Oh, dear. Left you on your own, has he? Well, I better go and find him. He mustn't be left on the rampage on his own, you know.
You're going too?
Yes, I'm afraid I must. You can just buy your sister a drink, will you?
Thank you. Joe!
Yeah?
You come back tomorrow night, yes?
It's going to be very hard to resist.
Send in Mr. Harris.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Harris. This is Sir Melissander Chanvaka. He's the head of my civil service and also my official secretary.
How do you do?
He'll be in charge of the negotiations on my behalf.
I'm delighted to meet you, Mr. Harris.
Be seated, gentlemen.
As a matter of fact, we've met before. On a major's course at Camberley, 54, I believe.
Yes, I was at Camberley around that time, I suppose. I can't recall your face, but I dare say you remember mine because it's black. Well, what have you got to show us?
Well, I thought I'd just go through my proposals in outline first, if I may, and then later on, if you're sufficiently interested, of course, we can get down to details.
I hope your company has something a little more promising to offer than the last time.
Well, yes, I think I can safely say that I shouldn't be here unless we had.
Certainly. Yes, I'll ring her back as soon as I hear anything definite. Oh, I had the impression you had the day off.
Ah, you reckoned without my guilt complex. Actually, I had some important business to conclude with my turf account.
Well, I had an urgent call from Lawson Ponds about an hour ago. They want Joe to go to Tel Aviv.
Do they, indeed?
Yes, they said he'd have to be there by Tuesday, otherwise it'd be too late. I've been trying to get him all morning. I managed to get the hotel, but they say he hasn't been in since yesterday.
Lawson Ponds. It's very interesting. They offered me quite a job when I came out of the brigade.
Oh.
They're getting big, and they've a go-go look about them. This is something we can't let slip by. Get them back again. Who was it who called?
Humphrey Pond.
Ah, the man himself. As you'll no doubt agree, the Partridge Scout car is ideally suited for this sort of terrain, has a wide variety of alternative armament, depending on its role.
Can it find a guerrilla fight in 100 acres of jungle?
Oh, well, that'd be a matter for personal detection radar sets, something we could go into.
But this Partridge, there are no supply problems?
All this equipment is available for immediate delivery.
No transportation difficulties?
None at all. I can all both be airlifted if necessary over existing routes.
This increase in aid which your government is prepared to offer, it is specifically for educational purposes?
Well, I understand it has been earmarked for that purpose, but I'm sure that our authorities would be sympathetic if some of it were to be diverted to more pressing needs. The High Commissioner's in charge of that. He can give you all the details.
Millie, what is your impression of all this?
My impression, sir, is the propositions that Mr. Harris has put before us are very interesting. I have 1 or 2 reservations, but I do believe that it would be useful to have further discussions on matters of detail.
Yes, I think so too.
Then I think we will arrange for further discussions, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Millie.
There was just one other matter that I forgot to mention.
Yes, Mr. Harris.
Provided that payment is made in full on the date of final delivery, we can allow for a discount of £60,000 for your personal use.
Yes, that seems a satisfactory arrangement.
Good.
I told you I do not want to receive any calls. Yes, who is it? And you? Hapana sana. Nasema nini? And you? Asante sana. This fellow, Joe Hine, he's a friend of yours.
I suppose acquaintance would be a better word.
He was in your company last night.
Well, yes, we do have certain interests in common.
He was kidnapped by the United Action Party outside the Oasis Club, just after you left.
Lord, really?
Mr. Harris, you don't know how lucky you are. It was you they were after.
Trying to eat in this establishment, Sebastian. Under my guts are beginning to rumble. Whiz of the type of chap it takes a long time to get to know. What subjects are you interested in? Only if you let me know, we might be able to talk about them. Listen, you're the number one in this enterprise.
We have no leaders. Our organization is based on the Chinese army system. There are no officers and no privates. Everybody does the work which is most suitable for his ability.
Not a bad idea if it works.
We have now established that you are, as you say, Joseph Hine and not Harris.
Oh, in that case, there's no need to waste any more of each other's time, is there? Now, if you'd just drop me somewhere in the town centre, I'd be much obliged.
We've also established, Mr. Hine, that you too are an international arms salesman, and that you have been negotiating with the government of Obispo Aku to supply weapons from a British firm.
Well, does that bother you?
We would, of course, have preferred Mr. Harris as a hostage. But now we must see what can be done with you.
Are you serious in suggesting that I'm worth anything?
I am hoping very much for your sake that you are worth something, Mr. Hine.
What are you asking?
We are requesting the freedom of 12 of our comrades who are being tortured in prison, and for our party to be legally recognized, and for the arms contract with the British to be cancelled. We also ask for a ransom of £100,000.
That sounds a bit optimistic.
On the other hand, we have nothing to lose. Nobody in the world is going to worry about the loss of a corrupt, capitalist parasite.
You know, when I first started in this business about 12 years ago, down the Fulham Road in a couple of old sheds next door to the pickle factory, I used to get a bit skint sometimes. And so I'd do a couple of months and nights behind a wimpy bar. I used to listen to a lot of blokes like you. all ready to start the new revolution on a couple of fried eggs and a beef burger. And then if I wasn't working nights, I'd sit in front of the television. Sure enough, there'd be somebody like you on that. Black, white, or indifferent. Bits of fluff all over his chops, hammering on about what was wrong with society. And I actually believed it for a while. You know, I nearly joined the party once. I got as far as Covent Garden, but I didn't quite make it. I had this idea at the time, you see. I was going to supply arms to all the lads, all the lefties, all the up-and-coming bloody Castros of this world. But you know something? When I got going, I found I couldn't tell the difference.
You are mistaken if you believe that your opinion of politics is of any interest to me, Mr. Hine.
Who used to live in this crap heap?
A family of 6 people. The man could not get any work, so they moved back to their village in the Northern Territory.
Friends of yours?
I knew them.
Suppose you lads aim to take over the country, eh?
It is simply a question of time.
Yeah. Well, that's where your problems start. If you lads ever make it, you'll find you spend all your time bashing the opposition. And every time the cost of living goes up 10%, you'll hand out the workers a 5% pay increase. These friends of yours who used to actually live here, do you think you're going to do anything to help them? If you make it, you'll find yourself stuck in a big Mercedes, dashing around with 15 or 16 motorbikes up front, and they'll still be picking coconuts.
Seemed quite a nice chap. Once one had discounted the rough edges, you know. Too eager, of course. I suppose you'd know him quite well, being in the same line of business.
Yes, we bumped into one another fairly often. Of course, being freelance, he wasn't... I always found him a very likeable sort of fellow.
Yes, well, I suppose we should just have to wait and see.
Just we can do. You've no specific instructions.
No instructions apart from holding a watching brief. I don't think the FCO would wish to intervene directly, not at this stage. We regard it purely and simply as an internal matter. Of course, I have expressed our very deepest concern. I telephoned the President as soon as I heard the news.
I wonder in the circumstances if you feel we ought to cancel the reception this evening.
Oh, well, you may be right. Anyway, I'll get my secretary to make the necessary cancellations.
On the other hand, I don't think this business ought to interfere with our negotiations. In fact, I feel we ought to press them even more urgently.
Oh, you do? Oh, well, I agree.
This meeting tomorrow morning, you think we ought to have a little preliminary discussion?
Of course.
Oh, what about, what should we say, 7:30, breakfast at my hotel?
Yes. Actually, I think it would be more suitable if we were to meet here in my office. Let's see, I shall be free from about 9. Will that suit you?
Yes, of course.
It's not that we haven't got Hine's interests very well to the fore. As I said, we're most concerned, but it's not quite like the old days. Our hands are tied.
Oh, yes. I do see that.
On those conditions, no, never. Tell them there's nothing doing. They've only one man who's of no importance to anyone, and they're asking a ransom for the President of the United States.
All right, I'll convey your message to my clients, sir. I'm sure they will be disappointed. And so will Mr. Hine, no doubt.
So why wasn't I told?
Seems you were.
By some reporter, but from official sources, I'm here having to bring up the subject by myself.
Windsor, I admire your esprit de corps. I can see what the Grenadiers did for you. But really, I am not Hine's keeper. I'm a public servant who happens circumstantially to be in the same line of business.
Who stands to benefit when Joe pulls off a deal? Your department, so that you can boast of the size of your arms exports. But you're forgetting most of the work is pulled off by us.
Us?
The independents, people like Joe and me.
Oh. What does your passport say, Windsor? Your tax return?
Sorry?
Tycoon, salesman, dealer in arms, or messenger boy?
So what are you doing about it? You have friends in high places in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office?
I've already been in touch with them.
Well, I thought your department carried some weight.
Hine's being held by rebels in a country no longer dependent upon the UK. We can't very well send in a battalion of paratroops.
And what else can't we do? I bet those phones would be red hot if they'd grabbed the High Commissioner.
Well, of course, it'd be a breach of diplomatic privilege. Look, my boy, what can I do? I'm as distressed as you are. But I'm assured that the High Commissioner is doing all he can. And Harris is out there. I've no doubt that he's doing all he can.
Oh, yes. I can just see Harris sticking his neck out on Joe's behalf.
Not bad enough, this. And my compliment to the chef. That revolver there. That's British, isn't it?
Webley 38.
It's probably one of a batch I shipped out here about 3 months ago. Is it loaded? Yeah. So the General wasn't too happy with the arrangement, eh? What happens now?
I am meeting with our People's Committee in an hour to discuss the situation.
But I'll tell you what the situation is. If you put a bullet through my skull, the General will sign that deal with Pendles. And when he gets the stuff, he'll have the best excuse in the world for using it on the United Action Party. So you'll be worse off than when you started.
We are not afraid of such a possibility.
I mean, you want to make something on the deal, don't you? I mean, take these conditions of yours. Take the money for a start. Now, that stinks of human greed, Sakusi, that really does. Nobody's going to believe you're going to dish it out among the lower paid. You won't get it anyway. So you can forget about that. And then this thing about making the party legal. All right. The General can make it legal this week, and then forget about it next week. So you've not much hope there. And as far as the arms deal is concerned, your only chance there is for Pendles to withdraw from the whole deal. But I can't see any chance of them doing that. That'll mean handing it over to the Chinese on a plate. And they won't do that. Not for me. So all you're left with is the chance of getting your mates out of the nick in exchange for me. I'll tell you something I learned a long time ago, Sakusi. It never pays to be too ambitious.
And it never pays to be too ironical.
So what happened?
Oh,
I've got a taxi waiting outside and 3/4 of an hour to get to the airport.
what can you possibly do when you get there? I've been shouting at Pendle's secretary for... She said he's gone on a rest cure. She said she hasn't any idea where it is. She said even if she did, she wouldn't dare disturb him. What can we do?
Try his wife. She ought to know.
And how do I find the address?
It's in Who's Who, silly. And that's for Schroeder. I've got to go. Bye.
Bye.
So, they don't want money. And they don't want recognition. Ah, I see. We're getting a little more reasonable. The answer is that as far as the purchase of military equipment is concerned, it is I who run the government, and I shall deal with whatever country I happen to choose. Now, as regards the prisoner, Kironwe, we're 12 prisoners from the UAP, all on criminal charges. Is that not correct? 6 of them are under the sentence of death for the murder of a policeman, but are awaiting an appeal. I tell you what I'll do. I'll exchange those 6 men for Mr. Hine. If, on the other hand, Mr. Hine is murdered by our clients, I will arrange for the appeal of those 6 men to be brought forward. And somehow, I don't think it will succeed. I will then personally sign the execution order. So, I'm offering your client 6 live men for 1 live man, or 6 dead men for 1 dead man. They can make the choice. That's excellent justice, Kironwe. Wouldn't you agree? You may go.
They get so famished at this time of year. Do you know, last week we had 16 different varieties of birds on this one table. Even the rooks came down.
Lady Pendle, will you please read this?
Oh, you read it, dear. I've left my reading glasses indoors.
It's about someone your husband can help. Someone he knows in the same business. Mr. Hine.
I know. That man in Africa. That salesman. Yes, I heard about it on the wireless.
Yes, well, I must see Sir Christopher.
dear, I'm afraid that's not possible. It's the one fortnight in the year when he won't see a soul. Otherwise, he's always very approachable.
But Lady Pendle, your husband's the only person that can help Mr. Hine.
Did you say you were his wife?
No, I'm his secretary.
Oh, I see. Look, there's a coal tit. First one of the winter.
Will you please tell me where he is?
Suppose I could write to him.
Oh, but that would be much too late.
There's so many terrible things happening in the world.
Lady Pendle, please help.
He made me promise not to tell a soul.
But please.
I suppose if I were to write it down, that wouldn't be telling, would it?
Of course it wouldn't. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Would you like to come in for a cup of coffee, dear? You look cold.
I'd love to, but I've got to fly.
I'm sure it'd be quite easy to arrange. Oh.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Be seated, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Sir Melissander, for whose opinions I have a great respect, seems to think we should accept your proposals in preference to what our Chinese friends have to offer.
I'm delighted to hear it.
Yes, I suppose you are.
As there seem to be no special reasons for delay, I could have the contract ready for signature tomorrow afternoon.
Very well.
Well, it's most satisfactory. Perhaps you and your colleagues, and you yourself, Mr. President, if you can spare the time, would care to attend a small celebration at the High Commission after signing.
We should be most happy to do so.
Fine. Well...
just a moment, gentlemen. I have an item of news that may interest you. I had an ultimatum from the people who call themselves the Revolutionary Council of the United Action Party. They say that if I do not sign the arms agreement with the Chinese brothers, they will kill their hostage. They've set a time limit of 24 hours, starting from noon today. So you do realize, Mr. Harris, that when you put your name to this document, you're also signing the execution order for your friend, Mr. Hine.
I understand, sir, that you're doing your utmost to secure the release of Mr. Hine. I can assure you that we, too, are deeply concerned by this situation. On the other hand, I don't believe my company would feel that any useful purpose could be served by delaying this agreement.
See, if that is what you believe, I suppose you must be right.
Thank you.
In. Out. In. Out. In. Out.
Sir Christopher.
Hello,
Have you seen this?
Come on out of
No,
here.
look, let me speak to him.
Come on out of here, quick.
Read it, please.
Very sorry about that, sir. I think we'll get better back to massage room now.
Just one moment.
Well, of course I agree it's a serious business.
May I ask what the hell you're doing about it?
It is not my department's responsibility, as well you know.
Stop nitpicking, Waldo. First, my own company, my PR man who picks up $15,000 a year for keeping our finger on the public pulse. First, he keeps me in ignorance, and now you quibble and yawn.
Christopher, I have in fact suggested to the Foreign Office that you should be informed. But I'm given to understand they have complete confidence in Colin Bryce, the High Commissioner, and as he's on the spot, he's best qualified to cope. And as for your staff, well, I mean, this situation calls for someone to make an appalling decision, and I suppose subconsciously they were trying to ensure that it wouldn't have to be you.
But good God, Walpole, what am I doing at the head of a large industrial company if I have to be protected from making decisions? Now, please listen to me carefully. As I understand it from the newspaper reports, Hine's life will be at serious risk if this contract goes through. Is that correct?
That seems to be the case.
And how far have we gone with the contract?
It's on the point of completion. Christopher, it's on the point of completion.
Right. Now, if you're saying it's a choice of having a man's death on my conscience as against a few £1,000s profit, I can see only one course of action. There are plenty of ways of making money, but I've only one conscience. I would therefore be obliged if you would ask your Foreign Office friends to contact Harris immediately on my behalf
and instruct him to withdraw from this deal.
Most certainly I'll do that at once, and if I may say so, with a good deal of pleasure.
I'll speak to him myself as soon as I get back to my office. Arthur, I've got to go.
Well, Harris here.
Ah, Harris, there you are. I've been trying to get you for over an hour.
Well, the telephone systems in some of these developing countries...
I want to convey to you, Harris, that I think you put 2 left feet into this undertaking from the start. May I ask you why you failed to let me know what was going on?
Had no alternative, sir. Simply had to press on.
Press on. Good.
Now, just one moment, sir. I came out here on your instructions to conclude a contract with this government against serious opposition. That contract is now ready for signature.
It doesn't occur to you, I suppose, that if we completed this contract, it would place the good name of this company in serious jeopardy.
The good name of Pendles may mean nothing to you, Harris, but I can assure you it is of the greatest importance to me. I hope that you'll remember that in your future activities on my behalf.
May it also be understood, sir, that in any other future activities on your behalf, I can hardly be expected to change horses in midstream without prior consultation.
Harris, the deal's off. You'll take the next plane home, is that understood?
Yes, sir. I understand perfectly.
High Commissioner's office.
This is Mr. Windsor speaking of Hine Enterprises. I would like to speak to the High Commissioner on a matter of urgency.
I'm terribly afraid he's in conference at the moment, sir. He really is very busy. But perhaps he won't be long. Perhaps I could ring you back when he's available. Yes, certainly. At the Imperial. Right-ho.
I'm waiting for a telephone call. I shall be in the bar.
Very good, sir.
A large vodka and tonic.
Hello, drinking the bloody profits again. Large rum and coke, please.
Joe, you all right?
All right. Nearly bored to death. All those earnest discussions about the profit motive. You can pay for this, Jeremy, won't you? You do me a favour, will you? Get one of the lads to run me a bath, and then lay on something decent for us to eat.
Consider it done.
And, Jeremy, just for the record, I'm impressed.
Huh?
That you got here.
Steady on.
So you see, I really had no alternative.
Well, you did the right thing. I'd have done the same for you.
Thank you.
Now, as I understand it, Harris did give you an assignment of sorts for, what was it, 7,500. But I understand that that depended on the success of the operation. In fact, you yourself contributed to its failure by getting yourself kidnapped.
Yes, that's one way of looking at it. On the other hand, you could say that as it was Harris they were after, I saved you a bomb. Not to mention the wear and tear I underwent on his behalf. Now, that's worth a bit of compensation, don't you think?
Well, we are expecting a bit of government money by way of deferring expenses concerned. Why don't we settle for 50%, which makes it 3,750?
Yes, well, let's not be greedy. Let's just call it 4,000, if you like. Round off the figures.
£4,000.
By the way, you know roughly how much profit you'd have made on this deal?
Roughly? I can tell you exactly. You cost me £261,000.
Oh, is that all? Well, that's, 257,000 I owe you.
Yes, roughly. Well, goodbye, Hine.
Goodbye.
Oh, I'm so sorry.